Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Babies with Knives. Tonight we have another installment of Chaotic Origins campaign for you, playing under the Supers Red system. With me tonight is Brandon Powers, my co-host. He's also our GM.
Howdy, howdy.
And we have one of the revised writers of Supers Red, Aldo Regalado, is one of our friends and players.
Hello.
We have Tim Lamaster playing with us this evening.
Yo!
And we have Lee Lamaster playing with us this evening.
I'm going to be different. Enchanté.
And I am Alice Peng, aka Lala Twiddle on the boards. Brandon, why don't you get us started?
Okay, so where we closed off last week was you guys were approaching a portal in this realm that you guys had been transported to somehow. That you had interacted with the koala bear Banjora, and had found a portal that possibly goes back into your world that Kayla was able to find. Kayla has been is trying to find the Scarab Queen. She instead seems to be infused with this different energy that, rather than being of the sun and sands, is more of life and poison. And Jim has regained his normal crystalline hide. Aldo has reconnected with the ghost light entity that resides within him, and Blue Streak has regained her memories and her super speed as well. You guys used all that. You fought some tentacles, some strange vines that were moving after you, as well as this big burly demon creature that seemed to just get fearful and lost and ran away in confusion from you guys. You destroyed the tentacles, though you can see small ones growing back up, nowhere near the size of what was menacing you before. And similarly with the plant growth in the area, the bits that there are seems to be growing back, though not at the same speed as the tentacles. What are you guys up to at this point?
I believe we're going to be trying to get through the portal at this point again. Once we've knocked them back, I get everyone back into my chariot that is attached to the train of my dress, and we're going to try and jump through.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. The group of you pushes into this portal on the trail of the trail that Kayla is leaving behind her, of this vine chariot that she has constructed with her magic. And Alice, you're the first one to hit that portal, and all of a sudden, just things begin to change, to warp to you. That you seem to become distended for a second, and then you snap back large at one moment, and small for another moment after that, as the confines of reality don't really hold true to you.
You didn't even look at me when I did that.
Each of you, as you enter, have a similar experience where things are moving fast and moving slow, and no moment to moment solidity of what is occurring. And Alice, since you are our guide here,
okay,
why don't you go ahead and give me a roll as you are trying to navigate through this environment.
I believe that I have someone assisting me. So before I do my roll, perhaps Lee should do hers.
Oh, okay. Please refresh my memory here. I was going to do super speed to assist you. Is that what I was going to do?
I believe you said you wanted to use academics at the time.
Oh, academics. To see if I can make
to navigate.
You both have gotten kind of like the same kind of topic. We both kind of took the same kind of major. So in college, so you kind of knew what was going on.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to roll for academics. I have a 3D. I roll a total of 13.
13, that's a pretty good roll on 3 dice. Speaking, so Alice, that's going to be 2 competency
Yep.
dice to you on that roll. Speaking of dice, like I was saying just before we started the broadcast, each of you guys is getting a competency die, so basically an experience. You can either take that as a competency die that will refresh each session, or you can go ahead and expend it to level up into something.
I'm
Was
holding it for the
anybody?
moment.
You're holding it as a competency die?
For the moment, yes.
That's fine. Yeah, and if it's a competency die, you can spend it later on something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will do the same.
Okay.
I got 19. Yeah, 19.
19, and what were you rolling?
I was rolling Magic of the Sun and Stand since I assume right now my Scarab Queen's Blessing is unavailable. My 5D is unavailable. So.
As I remember, you were using your...
as my jungle magic at that point. So,
Yeah.
that's true. So I would roll my wizardry, so I get one more die on top of that, which is a 5, so 24. Oh, I apologize, activate first. I haven't really used the competency die for wizardry before. Do I get it for both the activation and the effect, or just the effect?
No, the competency die would not... You would choose which one you'd want to spend it on. Now, you're only trying to activate a 5-die wizardry, if I understand your pool right.
Yes, I would.
It's not a 7-die wizardry,
Right.
and she's not actually aiding you in casting your spell. She's aiding you
in the effect of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's 5, that's 18, so that definitely activates.
Okay.
And, so yeah, then it was 24.
24, okay. You guys have a major success as you Blue Streak being in here. You know, you have read different things on the spirit realms and things like that, mythologies and all. And being in here, it's for a moment, it's as if you get to reach out and touch the face of those myths, those tales and legends, amid all this chaotic magic that's rushing over each one of you. You are able to find things within this realm, basically, that you're able to make touchstone that are akin more to your world, aiding in a series of basically pathways that you guys are making. Alice, you're using your magic to shield your group as you push on, guiding the chariot as Blue Streak tries to aid you in that. You guys make it through a number of these choices. Do you either of you have anything that you want to add on this?
I want to see if I can recognize any particular symbols that might be particularly helpful. Symbols that might be very similar between the Aztec world and the Egyptian world. Could I do that?
Yeah, you do recognize symbols of a number of different mythologies. Some of them are Aztec, and at times it's different aspects that you do clue in on that are important in those mythologies. And so that's one of the things that you are using to kind of push you guys on, is using those as the touchstones.
Okay.
To branch away from things that are foreign, since you guys are basically in a 3-dimensional environment of chaos, and you're using that to try and find these things that are associated with your world, where you're veering off from things that aren't.
Do I notice any that's particularly beneficial? Any powers that are particularly beneficial?
Yeah, for powers that are beneficial, you're able to basically try and guide the team, and this is what you've done with your role, is guide the team through the path of least resistance by identifying those.
Okay.
And Alice, anything else from you?
Yeah, I want to see as I'm going if I pick up any scent or trail of Scarab Queen's magic. her essence of anything. Basically, if I can grab onto any bit of it and follow it.
Gotcha. Go ahead and make a roll. You've already used your wizardry.
For this round, yes. So I, at this point, will use Magic of the Sun and Sands. Which, at the moment, is something different. Ooh, that's nice. That's 20 on 4 dice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. 5, 5, 4, 6. I was like, woo! Better than more dice than I got earlier.
So, you are able to find a trail of the energy that you think might be associated with the Scarab Queen herself. But you are trying to, as you follow it, Blue Streak, Unique begins to guide you in a different way on what she finds.
Okay.
Okay.
I
What
am
do I
actually.
know? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alice.
I want to start following. I want to start following Scarab's trail. She's my
Okay, Lee,
concern.
were you going to say something?
I just wanted to know if I know whether or not the Scarab Queen is an underworld creature. Does she belong to Povove, or is there another realm that she might have dominance over?
Alice, it is your character on whether her academics
Not an
identifies
underworld.
things.
She is not
So,
underworld.
She's
The
not?
I don't even know if she would know the Scarab Queen.
you wouldn't know the Scarab Queen based on the lore that Brandon and I established.
Okay. So, all right.
So, do you say anything, Alice, or do you just start going a different way?
I can feel the Scarab Queen. She's gone this way. I'm going to start following.
All right.
Okay.
You lead the way.
Uh,
So we are not okay. So all right. So not back to our.
No, you guys are still in this churning miasma of chaos
Oh, I know.
energy.
Oh, I know that's where we are now. But I thought that last time we played, the thought was that to get to the Scarab Queen, we had to go back to our
Alice,
world.
Yeah,
He was just asking, do we have a change of plan here? Did you pick something else up?
Well, what I told the people was that this is the layer that we were at, and then this was our travel, and this was our world, and then there were punctures, and so she could be here, here, or here on this layer. So
Yeah.
apparently I've now picked her up on this layer, and now I'm following.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. So okay, perfect.
Okay.
So let's see where we go.
All right.
Whee!
So the group of you following with Kayla's magic being guided along on it. You guys are run through, and as you guys move following Kayla's direction away from what Unique, what Blue Streak is finding. Unique, you begin to identify things that aren't so much just from different parts of your world and all, but they more start all lining into the world of ancient Egypt. And as you guys push on, following this path that Alice is trailblazing, then you all of a sudden feel yourselves pushed out. Everything snaps to a consistency rather than the chaos. Everybody I heard was attempting to hold on to who they are in the end, and so pushing out, you guys find yourselves in just this glaring heat of the noonday sun, it beating down on you, sand all over as far as you guys can see. For most of you guys, you are immediately just sweating bullets out here. Jim, Nothing has changed.
Yeah, all right, a little. Yeah.
The
Ooh.
the light
Warm
in
out
fact
here.
the light in fact comes through Jim, and you guys can see at different points basically like little lasers forming and burning into the sand and such from the light going through.
Whew.
Yes, I'm kind of shiny out here.
eh, the Scaled Queen, I felt her pull this way. Where are we? Oh, it's
Well,
hot out here.
That it is.
aside from heat, looking at landscape wise,
You see just that you guys are in the middle of sand dunes here.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, this is kind of about what I expect.
What's the position of the sun?
Are you old
It
enough
is
to have
high
seen
in the
the
sky
90s?
at the moment.
Question for you, Brandon. Am I still dressed as in IVs and such like that, or did I revert in some fashion?
No, you have not reverted at this point.
Okay, you guys start seeing that the leaves on my clothes start kind of shriveling and drying a little bit because it's just too dry of a heat out here compared to what it's used to. It's used to heat,
Uh-huh.
not dry heat. I just reach down with my hands. My hands shoot straight like this down into the earth, Brandon. And I'm going to basically try and root my fingers to draw up water from underneath to try and drink it right now. And at the same time, I want to try and see about tapping into the where we are and try and generate a sandcastle sort of, but a sandcastle map of where we are on the earth for everybody to see.
Okay, go ahead and roll your wizardry for that.
Sure.
You're keeping up with the message I sent you?
I was just heading over there. Okay, I see that. That includes my activation roll, correct, Brandon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have dropped the die. I make the activation on the first one because that's 15 on 4 dice. If I roll above average, I know that I made the activation, which is nice. I don't have to remember the DC. 14 is all I get on the magic itself. It's too dry out here.
All right, so are you trying to? You described two different effects. One was going after to try and find water for yourself. The other was to make a sandcastle.
As I'm tapping into the earth, my primary thing is basically generating the sandcastle map of where we are, and then the water thing is kind of a side flavor thing. I'll deal with the actual water issue later. But I'm trying to find where we are and trying to basically tap in to it.
Keep up.
Yeah, I'm keeping up. I'm reading.
Okay, go.
Okay. We got a problem here.
What's that?
Well, most of us have been the pathways of the dead, right? I know I have, and the two of you have. We seem to be in something like that. We're in the land of the dead, not on our world anymore. I don't know if I can find the scare. There's life out there, to the east. If we go that way, maybe we can find the Scab Queen.
Okay, wait a minute. So this is not like Egypt. This is not like ancient Egypt. This someplace else?
Yeah,
dimensional space?
Yeah, it ain't our world. I don't know. Maybe it is. It's it's a world of death. I know that.
All right. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it was the Scarab Queen who led you here, or do you think you were?
I'm pretty sure it was her magic, her soul that was calling. She and I are pretty connected. I can feel little bits of life that way and that way, but if we go that way and I point east, I think there's going to be some people around there, or at least some life. I can feel life strongly that way.
Okay. That's our best bet then? I mean, if you're saying this is the land of the dead,
It
what does it
doesn't look
mean that
like
you're...
what when she took you guys, two of you, through the land of the dead. This looks very different.
Right.
It's a world of death and decay. I can feel it. Just little spots of life. Uh, but that way, there's a really powerful source of life. So powerful, I can't even feel the Scarab Queen over it.
Okay, Lee, you wanted to roll survival, you were saying.
Yes, I do.
So, you are welcome to toss your survival dice. The environment that you're in is foreign to you in comparison to where I've heard you experience before, but I'm certain that you've learned many things about living in different places.
Now, because of that, I'm going to use one of my competency dice.
Okay.
English is a difficult language, okay? So forgive me. So that gives me 3d6. Woo! 16.
Oh, very good.
Nice.
Oh, the whole world saw me do my dance, didn't they?
All right. You out here. The first thing that you're gonna want to do is get shelter. Between your ability to super speed, as well as possibly some of Kayla's magic, you would be able to whip up a shelter that you guys might be able to sustain in for the hot part of the day. Moving when it's going to be cold or cooler is going to definitely be an ideal thing, rather than trying to trudge along during the day. You also have some idea on how to go about finding some of the snakes or other creatures that live out in the hot sands of the desert.
Oh, yum, yum.
And so you think that you would be able to forage for some food for you guys at that point when you needed to.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So what are you going to do then?
Is there any way that we can detect if there's an oasis with your magic?
Alice, I think that's to you.
Okay. Yeah, I was already gonna be trying to find some water. This place is drying me out.
Yeah,
I don't know about an oasis. This place is pretty dead, but I was gonna try and tap in deeper into the earth, see if I can draw some water up.
Okay.
From the water
Well, I was shooting for big, because if you ask for big, then you might get what you want.
So, but yeah, Brandon, at this point, I'm gonna go back to my when I was feeling out earlier with my fingers out and I'm rooting it, growing roots into the ground. And this time I am going to try and just go deeper and try and find that water line so I can draw us up water.
That sounds like reattempting something that you just failed at.
No, I didn't actually do that earlier. I was actually just
you described both. You didn't come out with the greatest roll, and then so I asked you which one are you trying to do.
Sure.
I don't understand.
I apologize.
So
okay. Well, at that point, I can start looking for Yeah, I guess I should have described it slightly differently because I screwed myself there.
Can I ask a question, please?
Go ahead.
I rolled a 16 with my survival. Can that help you?
Not with that same roll. But
so your 16 that you were telling is to survive the immediate, and like I said, you guys are going to want to build a shelter, and you think that based on what you have seen from Kayla from this Scarab Queen, that you would be able to in the sand get something and let her reinforce it with her magic so that it won't just kind of collapse in on you guys. Everybody but Jim here seems to be getting beat by the environment that you're in.
I'm now a spirit of nature, of magic of nature, so I am actually going to call forth storm clouds to generate us some water, localized.
Ghost light.
Yeah.
Why don't you fly up and see if you can find anything from the air? Do a little
Um.
scouting.
18,
Well.
Brandon.
Let them go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I can. I think. Yeah, I can. Sure. And he will. He'll fly up at Jim's request to get a look. I mean, he kind of figures that Kayla's got this, and it looks
Yeah, I mean,
like
Kayla did sense where there is life out here before
Right.
we had a hiccup in our thing. So
right, and but based on the actions they're taking now, I'm assuming that it's too far to get to right now, and that we're going to travel at night. But since Jim requested it, he will fly up and have a look around from a height.
okay. Go ahead and give me a roll.
All right, I guess I'll roll awareness.
Okay.
Oops, hold on.
You guys traveling through the chaos. You guys were restored to your regular competence, not regular competency, your regular resistance dice.
Awesome. Okay, great. I actually rolled 2 6s on that roll, so I got a 12 on awareness.
Thank you.
Okay. And go ahead and give me as you are trying to survey the sun just beating off of the sand is harsh on your eyes. So go ahead and give me a roll as you're trying to find out those fine details to protect your eyes with.
Okay, like a resistance roll?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think is I guess a
fortitude reactions where I'm kind of thinking, but if you've got some other ideas, by all means.
Yeah. No, I'll do a reaction if I can. Rolled an 11 total on that.
Okay. So the environment is just hard on your eyes. You do look out and you see, in the distance there are some signs of obvious man-made structures, but it would be quite a few miles of you guys to trek across at this point. And
Quite a few miles. How many miles? Like
probably
miles?
You're seeing pretty far in the desert, having flown up and all. And it's probably going to be, it's hard to tell, but you'd think like 50 miles is your guesstimate.
50 miles, okay.
And as you come down, your eyes have the spots going in them that just will not clear from that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take 1 die in a resistance from that.
Okay, I'll take it off of reaction, just because I figure it's hard for him to.
Yeah. You're a little discombobulated with that.
Exactly, yeah. Listen, we 50 miles east where there's signs of human habitation, but ladies, if you've got a way of protecting us from this environment, let's just hunker down as quickly as possible, because this is
Ghostlight, you okay?
Out of me. I mean, this is taking it out of me. Let's just put it that way. I think, we need shelter and we need water, I would say, right?
Yeah, I'm working on that.
May I ask a question? What do we have for clothing? What do we have? Do we have any long veils or long robes like the Arabs wear or anything like that?
No, I've got a cool ass superhero costume. That's what I've got. Let's see.
I literally look like I'm a walking bush, basically. I have this gown that's made of ivy and plant all over me with a sweetheart
And
top,
it is withering.
and it is withering, and my skin is tinged green and brown. My nails themselves are now brown and look like wooden bark. My eyebrows and my hair are also similarly tinged. I've got flowers literally blooming out of my hair, and the flowers are withering from the sun. So like I said, Brandon, I got an 18 on summoning a localized storm cloud so that we can at least get some water and gathered up while we create some shelter.
All right. All right. Yeah. Listen, it might have just been the lights playing a trick on me, but there was something much closer moving around. I don't know what it was. Same direction, about a mile away. Blue Streak, at the speeds you move, I don't know. Maybe you could reconnoiter.
Take me a couple minutes.
You can probably make it in, I don't know.
Couple minutes.
But just
arriba. Andale.
Again, it might have been the lights playing tricks on me, but I did see something, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna run there to see.
Careful! I don't know what it is.
I'm going to use super running. Okay.
Okay.
5d6. Oh gosh. But I'm afraid that it's going to make me very hot. But I'm going to do it anyway because you guys may die if we get some water. Okay, so here I go. Oh, not very good. I only have 11.
Okay. As Blue Streak takes off, all of a sudden this bit hit.
Oh, wait a minute, that was 5d6. Hold on a second. Sorry. I only rolled 4. 16. A little bit better.
All right. So as Blue Streak takes off, you guys are suddenly caught in this huge dust cloud that basically, as her feet start running at super speeds, kicks up. Jim, you're basically immune to it. With your life support and all that. You probably shelter yourself behind. But if the other two of you want to go ahead and give me a defense as she kicks out all this sand behind her. And as she continues to run, you guys can see at the speeds that she is, it's like a column of horses traveling in a dirt road or something like that. That anybody can see it for miles around.
Okay.
I got an 18 again.
I got
and
a
what
7.
are you using?
I'm using Magic of the Sun and Sands. I'm literally letting that just absorb into me and dissolve. I'm accustomed to sand.
Alice, remember, it is jungles and poison.
Oh, that's true.
It is magic of the jungles and poison.
That's
if
true.
you need to cross that out on your sheet and write something else, because you keep trying to act like it's not.
Because I need a different character sheet entirely at this point, because right now I am simply using the character sheet that on the Google Sheet. So I have to rebuild an entire character sheet through the worksheet. So let me just copy a brand new character. At that point, I would be using, I'd just be using my fortitude to, while I'm trying to give myself some cover, but I'm basically going to brace myself for it, which was also 3 dice, but I'll re-roll it. And that was, that's lower, 8, 14 is what I got this time. And I'm just going to make a copy and redo this character sheet entirely.
Did you have a perfect 666 on your first
did.
roll? Okay. I didn't tell you to re-roll it by any means, so you can keep that.
Okay, I'm going to just make a new copy so that I'm just writing stuff over it. This way it'll... This way I don't...
And Aldo, you got a 17 with what defense?
I'm sorry, I got a 15, and he's going intangible, insubstantial.
Okay.
There you go. I should hope.
Both of you, or all three of you, end up, being able to grit your teeth, cover yourselves up. Although you've got a cool ass superhero costume with a cool ass cloak on it, and so you're able to use that vampire
Yes.
style.
Well,
And
I have what I could do for Alice's character is I'm big. I have the big advantage. I can basically stand over her and just block the sand,
all right.
Cool.
and to keep it off of her. Because I'm a nice guy.
Um,
And Jim, I think this is probably the first time you're really realizing you don't have concerns that you
you used to
really
have.
used to. Yeah, because I don't think that you've been in the hot, sweaty desert since you became this way or anything like that. And the others are obviously affected as this goes on,
Thank you, Jim.
but you
Um,
aren't feeling it.
Thank you, Jim. Brandon, I'm going to start constructing a shelter. But like I said, I want to also, once I construct that shelter, since it was only planned and hadn't been talked about, I want to create some a localized storm clouds for us to catch some water.
Okay. You had a roll on that earlier, I
Yeah,
believe.
with 4 dice, I got 18. I rolled a couple 18s in a row.
And what did you roll for that?
I rolled Magic of the Jungle and Insects.
Okay.
My 5 die, which is now 4 die until further notice.
And you got what?
18.
Okay. You guys notice wisps of clouds, kind of start to form above you, and there's a light misting, but almost nothing comes down, Alice, and
Okay.
most of the misting is basically evaporating as it's on its way down and such from your incantation.
Okay.
Over to Blue Streak, you, Taryn, you're really not aware of the trail that you're leaving behind at this point. And then you get to the area that Ghostlight pointed you out to, and you start to search, and that's when you really, as you're making turns and such, you're really starting to notice that there's this big tail that you're leaving behind of sand kicked up.
Uh-oh. So I'm going to try to slow down.
All right.
But not suddenly, because that would be bad.
You start running around and searching the area, and then you end up finding this human individual that's wandering about. Looks like your survival immediately tells you that it looks like they're probably suffering from exposure.
Oh, dear. So they're in worse shape than us.
Yes, this individual is.
Is there any trees around, any wood around, anything like that maybe I can build a shelter for him real quick?
You do not see anything. You're in the middle of just sand dune after sand dune where you guys came in.
Is the sand dune the kind of substance that maybe I can make a sand castle out of?
With the sand without giving some structure, which like I was saying, you think that Kayla's magic might be able to do. You don't think that it would hold together all that well.
Yeah, you never actually asked me for a roll to create the shelter.
Yeah, but now I'm like a mile away, so sorry.
Brandon,
If I did it,
I was talking to you, Brandon, that you never asked me for a roll for the shelter.
Yeah, I was trying to move on to this,
Okay, cool.
and I'm
as long as we got it done. Awesome, I'm good.
I haven't said you got it done, but you tried to do your weather magic.
Yeah, I said I was going to do the weather magic after I did the shelter.
Okay.
Cool, I'm good.
So, Blue Streak, what are you up to?
If I dig into the sand, could I find a cooler spot? Maybe dig a big enough hole so I can get this poor person, someplace cooler to maybe save his life.
The individual is just wandering around, and you think about that, and you reach into the sand, and jerk your hand back, realizing how hot it is at that level. Without any protection, you don't think that you'd be able to dig into the sand very well.
Okay. Well, I look at this individual. Can I tell whether or not he understands what he is doing? Does he look like he's maybe a little bit out of it?
The individual wandering away from you really didn't notice you, and with the trail that you're leaving, you think that that's first of all odd. They are talking in a language that you do not understand, kind of mumbling, and you can definitely tell that they're not necessarily repeating the exact same thing over and over again, but you hear the same words at different times of certain words that they're saying, repeated over and over again.
Could I use my academics, see if I can memorize those words?
Sure.
Okay. Uh, 12.
Okay. You think that you've got them pretty well.
Okay, so when I get back to the Scarab Queen, then I will see if she understands those words. Maybe touch base with her when I get back.
Okay. What are you doing while you're out there then?
I don't know what I can do. I tried digging into the sand. It's hot. It's not possible to make a castle. I don't see anything else I can make a shelter up. And this person is kind of like very, very strange. Could I get him to come back with me when I go back to the rest of the group?
It depends on how you would do that. If you want to interact with them, if you want to pick them up and just drag them, what?
I'm going to try to interact with him.
Okay.
So what do I need to roll?
How are you doing that?
Would that be like...
No, I'm asking your character, how are you doing that?
Well, I'm going to try very calm. Well, I'm going to try to point to him, point to myself, and say my name, and then point to him again and see if he responds. And I point to myself again.
The individual continues repeating words or saying words that you don't understand. You hear some of those same words come up time and again. Arameu isatva uba katan bubata. And they just kind of, they don't really react to you. They very possibly might not even be aware of you with the level of exposure. You're not certain since you haven't done any real examination, but just based on the way that they're acting and the environment you're finding them in, that's what you think immediately.
Yeah. And there's no water or anything like that I can give him for relief?
I don't think you have any.
No, I don't. And I have no equipment either. Well, the only thing I can do is return to the others. But how am I holding up from that running? Am I overheated?
It's definitely pretty brutal out here, but it's not getting to you yet.
I don't see any other choice. I'm going to head back to the others.
Okay. How are you guys going to construct a shelter, Alice, while Blue Streak is away? Or to any of you? Alice is just the one that was talking about it.
I'm going to take the leaves that are on my dress and I'm going to start smashing them with my hands. And I'm going to utilize what moisture and what viscosity is in them. and then I'm going to put my hands, put my gooey, icky, sticky hands into the sand, and I'm going to start molding the sand with my magic and just infusing what little life that I can infuse into that and creating a mud hut for us. And so as I keep massaging the sand with the gunk in my hands, I start moving my hands up and up and up and start molding it into a little mud hut dome using magic.
All right. Similarly, when you interact with the sand, it scorches you.
Okay,
I got an idea.
go for it, Jim.
You said there was like you might have been like an oasis of settlement around here.
It's like 50 miles away, Jim.
We can't go there right now. We need shelter here and then travel at night.
Yeah.
Is there anything around here? Just sand? Is there anything else?
Nope, nothing but sand. If it's scorching me, Brandon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically then at that point wet the vines of my clothes with this gunk that I'm creating, and I just basically keep mashing, wet the vines, and then use the vines to start molding it gently, and then it just starts to spiral up. So I'm not going to actually interact with it with my hands.
So, how are you interacting with it? I'm confused.
So the vines of the train of my dress are going to lift up and start moving, and I take the gunk that I was meshing into my hands, and I'm going to start wetting the vines that are coming up and starting to move like tentacles, writhing, and the sand is going. The tentacles are going to start going into the sand and start writhing like snakes, and then bringing that up in snake-like motion. To create us basically a mud hut at that point, since it's scorching my hand, so I can't mold it myself.
All right. As you start to try and grind this stuff up and such to get the paste, you notice that as it is withered, it has much less than what you would think.
Yeah, I figured that already. But it's the material component for my spell at this point, essentially. I do activate. Ooh, nice. That is 14 on 4 dice. Yeah, that didn't turn out so nice. 2 or below average.
Go ahead and give me a defense roll on your vines.
Sure. Would you like me to use the same ability that it's using, or would you like me to actually use something else?
I'd think something else. You're
Sure.
using that for the round already.
Okay, that's fine. I am going to use Composure because that defense is literally what is associated with magic in this game. So it is basically tapping into the magic of that. Defending. Oh, that's really nice. 5, that's 15 plus 6 is 21.
Okay.
Vines don't care.
Your vines catch fire at times and such, little bursts of energy
Okay.
on them. They have enough that they do not continue to catch fire, that some of the dried parts of them basically light up and quickly are snuffed out, both by burying them in the sand as you're doing this, as well as moving about. That there's not enough of it that's super dried up. As Blue Streak comes back, you will have gotten some of that, the hut mostly put together.
Okay.
As you have done this. The gown of plants that you have is almost completely gone at this point. And to all of you that are watching her, she seems to be doing worse than the rest of you at this point.
In fact, with the information you just sent me, Brandon, I now look like basically the dress is shed off, and at this point I'm wearing like a swimsuit of quickly drying plant life, and it is starting to turn brown. You can see basically my skin is going pale, so that vivid, rich green that I was on my face before, that the tint of my skin and the bark of my nails, it's starting to gray, like dying plants, and you guys can see I'm barely actually standing.
Okay.
good.
Hey kid, you better get in there now. I mean, you've done good, but you need to take a break.
Um,
I go
Brandon, I
inside
have an
without
idea.
and just nod at you.
Go ahead, Jim.
Now, Ghostlight, when you're looking up there, you saw the direction. Do you see like might have been a dried up riverbed or anything up ahead?
I didn't see anything like that. I saw remnants of, well, some sign of habitation. Couldn't tell if they were ruins or if they were, you know,
Well, with
based
2D
on.
is super leap. How far can I travel?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
With 2D is super leap. How far can I travel?
You can jump 20 feet, is it?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
That's a lot of 20. That's a lot of leaps to hit 50 miles.
Yeah.
Wasn't I just there?
No.
You were a mile out. They're talking about 50 miles out.
Oh, I didn't go far
Approximately.
enough.
Well, you found what Aldo was talking about on the close thing.
Right, because I said 50 miles out, there are buildings. About a mile away, there was something moving. I mean, you found the something moving.
Yeah, it was a person. He was saying something very strange, and I try to memorize the words.
You guys,
I don't know if you can understand. It didn't
I
sound.
can't. Run it by Kayla and see if she knows.
Yeah.
You left them out there?
I wasn't able to bring him. I am not strong enough to carry him.
Hmm.
And I couldn't convey to him to come with me.
All right.
So inside the shelter, I've lied down, and yeah, you guys just see that I am really not doing well. I'm barely conscious.
We have nothing that we can shield you from the sun.
That's what she just made. She just made something.
I made us mud huts to hide in.
A hut, but it took most of it out of her. Wore out.
Is there any way I can transfer some?
You cut out, Lee.
Is it possible that I can transfer my?
Is she cutting out at the same time for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard up to transfer
Okay.
what now?
Is there any way I can share my energy?
Share her energy with her.
That's, if you can come up with a good way. She's, definitely looks weak to all of you. That whatever she's been doing here, or maybe just being out here, has really taken it out of her.
I think maybe just being out there might be was taking it out of her. You know what? I'm going to try to repeat those words that wanderer was saying. It might resonate with her Egyptian mythology or something like that. It might be a magic spell. So I'm going to try to say it to her again, if I may, just on the off chance.
Sure. And what was your academics on memorizing that again?
You mean what did I roll?
Yes, you made a roll back then.
I think I rolled a 16.
I know it was reasonably good, but I didn't remember exactly what it was. So yeah, the hut that she's built for you guys is big enough to house not Jim out of you guys, and the entryway is not large enough for him to pass through it. If it was, it probably wouldn't be doing the best as a shelter for you guys.
Brandon,
But luckily,
my request?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Cool.
But luckily, Jim is inured to the elements out here, and does not seem to be having any great deal of difficulty. You move in there, and while it's not cool in here, it gets you out of that beating down heat as you arrive, Blue Streak. For Aldo and Blue Streak, go ahead and both of you give me a roll on just dealing with the environment that you've been forced into up until this point.
Okay.
Having
that's
dealt with
gotta
the
be
heat.
Composure. Not a composure, a fortitude.
Fortitude.
I rolled an 11 and 2
Okay.
dice. It's pretty darn
You're
good.
you are keeping it together at this point.
Okay.
On 2 dice, that's
Okay.
excellent.
Yeah.
I got 3 dice. For
Aldo.
fortitude, I got 14.
Okay, you are both doing it pretty well. As Blue Streak comes in and starts saying, I heard these words and I don't know what the person was saying, but this is, kind of what I heard, and you hear it, Kayla, and it's translating in your brain because of having learned it after being bonded with the Scarab Queen, is that it is ancient Egyptian.
Do I know what it says? And Aldo,
Yeah.
You read auras. I forgot about this. When I was building the shelter, you could tell that I was literally infusing my own life into it because it was the only way to get it up, possibly, or that I thought so. So, like, my aura is reading off of the shelter itself.
Okay. Jeez.
There you go. Also.
I see that. That's...
Any way I can use the competency dice and share my life support power there?
He's calling for a loved one. Love, where are you? Find you I must. It says, my love, come back to me. Where are you? And it just repeats.
All right. All right.
As to sharing your life support, I don't think that's the way that your powers work.
I know.
Yeah. He's gonna go up to Kyla. Kayla. Sorry, Kayla. Kayla. I can see what you did here. You gave of yourself to build this thing.
I needed to. We were gonna die out here, and I can't let y'all die. Had to do what I could. But this place is a world of death. It's all I could do to keep us from dying now. But when it gets colder, maybe we can get to that place in the east I saw.
You gonna make it that long?
I think I can. I hope I can.
Can you use your magic to take some energy from me, some life from me?
I will not do that. That's...
Listen.
The Scarab Queen would not. That was the Scarab Queen's ability to give and take life. I can't do that. That isn't me.
All right.
Even if we try to give it to you?
We could try,
right.
but I don't know if I can.
What do you think of the saying that person was saying about my love, come back to me? Is there any word there that resonates with you that maybe you can hang on to strengthen yourself?
No, I think the only way for me to get stronger is if we find the Scarab Queen. With her here, I could have made a palace for us. She would have been powerful here. Water, she could have made an oasis for us, a paradise. But here, without her, I'm withering. The Scarab Queen's our only hope.
Is there any way that you can teach us? Maybe if we call together, all of us together, she might hear us. This is very, very crucial. We need to do something. Otherwise, we'll.
I think maybe we wait for dark if it's coming. And in the dark, we travel those 50 miles to the east, see what we can find there. There's some powerful life there. So
All
maybe in the
right,
dark we can
listen.
find it.
I'm thinking two things. First of all, yeah, of course, that's one thing. But this man that you saw out there in the sands. First of all, I don't feel comfortable leaving that out there to die. And secondly, he might he might
What?
have some information that can help us here. Who is this love that he's trying to reconnect to? Could that even be the Scarab Queen?
Wait,
So
Ghostlight, I feel like I missed something in here. What person?
the
Ghost Light saw
the
someone, and I
words
went
that
to investigate.
the words that Blue Streak shared with you, she got them from a man who was wandering in the desert out there.
Well, we need to get him here.
Yeah,
We need to
yeah.
get him sheltered.
You
He won't survive.
you rest. I'll see what I can do.
Stay safe. Be
You're not
careful.
strong enough. You're not strong enough to carry him. He'll ask. He'll ask.
No.
He'll ask Blue Streak.
Is that you, Tim?
Yeah.
Diamond Jim, he's immune to this place. Maybe he can carry him.
I know, but it's a bit of a trek. Well, no, it's only a mile away, right?
Yep, a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jim, you're basically gonna ask Jim to go. If Jim can't, he'll actually try.
Well, he just stepped out for a minute.
Yeah.
Now, Blue Streak, just so you know, you've got 3-die athletics.
Yes.
So that gives you a max carry capacity of about 800 pounds. So, I mean,
so
you are by all means not a weakling. You are a fairly strong individual.
So maybe I'll run back and get him.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, I'm gonna run back and get him.
Oh, and also to those of you who are still outside, Blue Streak, upon returning, did not. She is not setting up near these waves of sand behind her. By all means, it's still pretty noticeable, and if you were watching,
Right.
you'd see that something out here is moving. But it's not like what it was before, and she's not covering you guys in sand as she flees,
Okay.
as she runs from you.
Okay.
But yeah, by all means, if you do want to go and grab them, you can.
I am. I have super speed 4D, so
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
You've already been out there. You have a good idea of where they were and where they might have gotten to. So you run. What's that?
You want to come with me, Ghostlight?
I don't think I need to. I mean, if you can do it, then I'd only be getting in the way.
Well, you
I
were
can-
talking about some shelter. You'll be a little bit
Bring him
closer.
here. We'll shelter with him.
Okay. All right.
So you run out there, Blue Streak, and are able to find the individual once again, still moving off, still repeating similar words to what you heard before.
It's 18 out of 4 dice. I'm going to come up behind him and just pick him up and carry him back.
Sure. They struggle feebly. It's not even so much that they're fighting being picked up, but they're more trying to continue on whatever they are involved in. Only tangentially aware that you have prevented them from whatever this search is out in the middle of nowhere.
And I bring him back to the others.
Sure. You run back, and by all means, running even at your speed, running a mile with a person, not a lightweight, and more importantly, not a good to carry weight, but you're able to make it without much of a problem. Get back to the shelter that you guys have built up, and now Blue Streak brings in this person that, unlike you guys, is in the layered of voluminous clothes. that cover them up, but the clothes are just absolutely sandblasted. Um, the the person has obviously been exposed out here for a while. And as soon as Blue Streak really stops and kind of puts them down, they continue saying these words that all of you are hearing, similar to what Blue Streak said, pronounced a bit better, but you know.
Yeah. Hey. I don't assume you can understand me. He'll tell you as he's muttering these words. He'll actually get in front of him and say, "I don't suppose you understand me."
The person for a moment when you get up in their face and all, they look at you for a moment and kind of scan you and then shakes their head and moves off.
Come here.
Looking
Come here.
into their eyes, you don't think it's a man, Aldo.
Oh. Okay. Sorry. It's like it's like the Monty Python skit. Seven. All right. All right. Hey, listen. Come here. He's gonna take her by the shoulder and gently steer her towards the shelter.
Sure.
And bring her in with Kayla, and kind of kneel her down in front of Kayla, and kind of kneel with her and say, "Listen, Kayla, this is our wanderer that we were telling you about. Wanderer who doesn't understand me. This is Kayla. Maybe you guys can help each other out, help us all out somehow."
She looks female to me too.
You haven't really investigated. Aldo was right in her face.
Okay. I'm going to turn my head. I'm still laying there. I look at her, or look at the person. Try and get some understanding of who the person is before I start talking. But if I can discern that she is a woman, I know what I'm going to say. If not, then I'm going to adjust that. So
it was never covered, and Lee, which fit perfectly in the situation, just assumed it was a man. No, so with taking some time to look at them and look at the person up close and all, as Kyle is guiding them into the shelter and such, you think that it's probably a woman.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Nirgala Yimtib, and that is, and I speak to her in Aramaic. I ask her about her husband and her house. So I asked her, "Where's your husband, and where's your house?" Is what I just attempted to say in Aramaic.
Okay. She looks at you and Ghostlight, you see that she stops on Kayla far longer than she stopped on you. And then she says, "Gone in ruins. The house is disordered. Those that serve now are masters. The husband." And she starts to move towards the door. I must find my love.
Wait. We will aid you. Ghostlight, can you come here?
He's right there with you.
Okay. No, closer.
He's kneeling next to her.
Closer.
Yeah.
I put my hand on your forehead, and I start chanting in words you don't understand, and you start understanding her babbling.
Okay.
That will be easier. Diamond Jim, come here. Closer. Closer. and I'll go through and I'll put my hand on each of you, and you now understand what she's saying.
Okay.
That's pretty nifty.
The great GM told me I could do this.
I don't think we gotta look out. We gotta find Scarab and everything. We got time. Side mission. I've actually lost a hut. We really can't go around doing this right now. We gotta got bigger fish to fry. I mean, she can come with us. It's, I even carry her or something. But
she speaks
we gotta find Bug Lady.
The master might be connected to Scarab.
Oh, okay.
And besides, well, yeah, there you go.
Is it too soon? Is it too soon? Is it too soon for me to use some academics to try to figure out who this master?
No, go right ahead.
Ah, okay.
Master.
Woo! 16. 2 6s and a 4.
Okay. As you are kind of
she's on fire tonight.
Yeah, am I not coming through?
Yeah, you're coming through. I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
As you are watching this scene and such, the woman in there, and you're trying to puzzle out, having been told some things. I don't know, Alice, did you cast this on her yet?
Yeah, I cast on each of them.
Okay.
I shortcutted it and said,
Yeah, that's fine. And you're listening to it, and you notice that out in the desert this wasn't happening, but in the shade here, that where she steps, there is for kind of a moment, there is a welling up of life, that just for a moment as she steps down and then lifts up, that there's living plants that are immediately just kind of wither off, similar to what Scarab's going through, what Kayla's going through, and given what she's talking about, and a very important aspect of ancient Egyptian mythology is the Osiris myth.
I was just thinking that.
Looking at her, you identify symbols that would make you believe that this would be Isis or some sort of priestess of Isis, but and the magic that of fertility that is being demonstrated right in front of you, basically. But she definitely seems to be lost from herself, if that is the case.
Okay. May I say something? If that is the mythology that you set, which was Osiris's brother had hacked him up into many small pieces, and Isis went around collecting those pieces to bring him back to life.
Are you asking me, or are you talking to your fellow adventuring group?
Well, I'm asking you if that is the same.
Yeah.
Osiris.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope I didn't have to roll academic to that one, but sorry I blurted it out.
So I have a question, Brandon. How much have I retained from what the Scarab Queen taught me?
Knowledge you remember.
Okay, cool. Have I actually noticed her footsteps?
No, I think that's only Blue Streak at this point.
That's fine with me. I'm too weak right now.
I think you should rest and regain your strength, and then I'll ask you about that mythology when you are recovered.
What mythology?
About the Osiris story.
No, she was just stating an intention, I think, Alice, not an in-character statement.
Sorry,
No.
Some people at this table use voices, some people don't, so it's hard for me to discern at times. I apologize.
I apologize.
No problem.
So what are you guys doing?
What is she doing?
She is moving. Anytime that you leave her alone to go about her own, she is moving and moves towards the exit, basically, to continue on the search, as far as you can tell. And she's constantly just saying things like what you heard Kayla talk about earlier.
Okay. And if I try to interact with her, she doesn't pay attention, right? Even when she understands my language or what I'm. So,
you go ahead and try again with the language.
Okay. All right. Hey, listen. I know that you have an errand to run. We're here now, and maybe we can help you do. You don't have to do this alone. We need help. You need help. And we have unique talents. So please sit with us, rest, recuperate, and then let's try to work this together.
I think the Ghostlight should be played by Liam Neeson now. I have very specific talents.
I have very specific.
She looks at you and she says, "Without him, everything into darkness. Our ruler, he is gone. I must find him. I am the only one."
When she says that, I draw the Eye of Ra on the ground. Does she seem to recognize it?
She's not even looking at it. She, at the moment, is looking at Ghostlight and beyond Ghostlight to the exit.
Okay.
But you're not alone. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We'll help you. Do you know the Scarab Queen?
She gets a horrified look for a second on her face.
Look, did I say something wrong? He looks back at Kayla. What?
We are here because of because of that harlot.
I put my arm around her and says, no one here is going to hurt you. We are here to help you. And I try to talk to her in as soothing as possible to get her to calm down.
Yeah, that was my thinking exactly. We're here because of the Scarab Queen. Tell me what you know about. Tell me what you know about the Scarab Queen.
I love it. She and her consort, both powerful with the magics of darkness, have risen up. They let their lord aided him in the assault upon my poor Osiris. And she starts crying, and she grabs onto your cloak, Ghostlight. I must find him. He needs to be returned.
All right. We can work that. And the Scarab Queen's consort. Who is he? He's
She gives a name of Arakara.
Arakara?
Can I do an academic to see if I recognize it?
Brandon, what does that name mean to me?
Neither one of you recognized it.
Okay.
All right. Do you know where the Scarab Queen is now?
She shakes her head. She looks at you and says, I assume that they're together, paying homage to the new Lord of all.
What is the new Lord of all?
He is the oncoming darkness, the younger brother of my true love.
Set.
He is the 12 hours of night, the lord of those who will come and kill others in their sleep.
So
I
the
can assure you that the Scarab Queen is not working for the Master. She has been kidnapped and taken as a sacrifice or use for the Master. Whatever mistake she made in the past, she already spent lifetimes rectifying. She's been hunted through time, trying to make amends.
How does she react to that?
She upon the mention of the Scarab Queen again, gets agitated. Why don't you guys, those of you who have been interacting here, go ahead and make your attempt to persuade her. Normally, this is a presence, and you guys can put one of the three of you who have been talking in charge. Jim hasn't really been interacting on it.
I have presence.
But if you guys have other approaches to what you were doing, by all means, I'm willing to listen, because I know presence is not the most common thing at the table.
I do have presence.
I will try to assist Scarab Queen with, but it's untrained, so I've got to roll really well. And I did. I rolled a 6.
Awesome. So that would be 1 die.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Blue Streak?
What we're supposed to do? Everybody froze up for a second.
They are trying to convince the woman that they've been talking to. Since Jim hasn't been talking to her, I'm just going to leave him out of it and let the rest of them try to convince her.
I'm going to use my composure.
Composure is a resistance, so you don't roll those actively. Those are simply for defense.
Okay, well, the thing is, what I'm trying to do is present a very facade so that she can trust me.
Okay, that would be through. That would be presence.
That would be what?
Presence. Which you have at 1d, because you have all aptitudes at. So if you don't actually have the aptitude, you have it at 1 die.
But I still have one competency dice, which I can add to.
You could do that, yeah.
Right?
You could, yeah.
Oh.
You could roll 2 dice if you blow your competency die.
Okay, I'm going to try that. Well, you know something? It seems to me that gaining her trust, so we can get further, more information from her, so we can accomplish this, might well be worth it.
Sure.
So, well, I also have will, and
the resistances are all passive. You roll those to defend against things. You do not use them actively. None of them. Fortitude, reaction, resistance. Sorry, will and composure. They're all passive.
Right, but the attitudes that I have don't seem to work very well in this.
Right. That's why you'd be rolling presence at 1d. That's what I had to do. I just got lucky.
You roll presence at 1d and hope you get 6 or higher, so you give me a die.
Or you blow your competency die and you roll 2 dice, which gives you a better chance of rolling a 6 or higher.
Because I've got multiple dice in presence and I've got attractive, and
That's why I'm going to use my competency dice.
Cool.
I'm sorry.
Go for it. That's 2 dice. So roll 2 dice.
I got it. 7.
There you go.
Okay, so Alice, that is 2 competency dice.
Yep, that's 5 dice for me total with them. I am going to spend a competency die because I am, because my my take on this, based on the information I have, like you said, this is information Scarab Queen has not shared with me. This is secrets that she kept from me, but I am still on Scarab Queen's side as the way that I'm talking. So I'm going to spend a comp die of my own. Oh, nice. Nicey, nice. 10. That's 20. That's 25.
Well, that's a pretty impressive roll. I guess you had 6 dice on it, so
Yes, I did. I had 6 dice on it.
by all means, that still sounds like a pretty good roll. Okay.
It was all but above average except for 1 die. That was 1.
She looks at the group of you, and she for a moment, and she finally kind of stops that shuffling that she's been doing to get out the door. Although that, like I say, she's not really actively fighting, but that she keeps trying to go there, and if she's blocked, she'll try a different way, and so it's fairly easy to stop her. But she's just trying to go that way, and she finally stops that movement and looks at all 4 of you. And Jim was speaking English when he made his comments. I know, because that was right before the language went up. And she says, "You will help. You will help me find my husband, and to bring the end of terror to the Lord of Night, to his high priestess Arat Kara, and to that harlot, the Scarab Queen."
We will help, yes.
Yeah.
You are Isis?
She nods.
Hey, I saw you on the television back in 7.
Jim, you get a competency die.
We will help.
Saw me on
that show with that Captain Marvel guy. That was.
And you guys, you hear him, and he says a lot of things, and then in English, television pops out of his mouth, and you understand the rest of it. He's speaking, but there's no word for certain parts of it, of what he's saying. And so television, you just say the word television, and it doesn't translate under the spell that you're under.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I think you can watch that on DC Universe. Streaming.
Captain Marvel's there. I don't think Isis is there.
The Master. He is.
She's actually going to. She's going to respond. Actually, television. She stumbles over trying to say that English word.
Well, you see. Okay, television is this thing. Okay. It's a piece of technology. Okay?
And that word does not come through either.
It's a type of magic we deal with. We're from there's lots of magic everywhere, and this is magic thing. And you can see people from all across the world. They can do like little play stuff in front of you, and you can see it even when their play is somewhere in another part of the land. Though you can watch them do stuff. And they can play out stuff, and sometimes they try to sell you things. A lot of trading going on, and that's what television is. Type of magic little box.
This sounds like a very strange use of a scrying device.
Yes,
of a scrying pool.
Scrying pool. Your husband's brother. He is the Lord of Night.
Her face gets serious and downtrodden again, and she nods.
Okay, I push myself up to my. I push myself up to a seated position, and then I push myself to a standing position, and I say, "We cannot wait for me to improve. If we let it get to night, and before we go after the Scarab Queen, then she's going to be sacrificed already. If night comes, they win. This is a place of death and sun at the moment. But if we cannot wait.
Listen,
I
we
might be able to
15.
port us there.
Hey, Mighty Isis, I know you're not doing too well. I get the feeling you're not quite like you, like some goddess or something. You got anything to help the girl here? She's about all in. I'm worried about her. Can you do anything to help her out? If you help her out, she can help you out. You seem to be able to live
Um,
out in this desolation pretty all right. You look like she'd be dead, but you're all walking around looking pretty spry to me.
She actually, no, she looks super haggard and absolutely beat from what she's been going through.
can I put
That it surprises any of you that she's was on her feet when Blue Streak found her, or that she's still on her feet for that matter.
She's a goddess. She can survive more than we can.
excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Could I roll to see if I just happen to carry place a small flask of something a bit heavier than water?
If that's something that Blue Streak carries around with her in her costume, you could claim that by all means.
Girls can carry those little small flasks in many different hidden spots.
I'll point out she's a speedster. She does a lot of running. Running does dehydrate you. It's entirely possible she would be carrying a bottle of water with her.
It wasn't water I was thinking about.
Well, that will dehydrate you some more.
Well, I was thinking about giving it to the woman and spirits a little. But you know what? Never mind.
All right. So, what are you guys up to then?
I am at that point going to start casting a ritual. At this point, I feel, my magic is strong enough. Well, my magic's weakened, but I'm feeling weakened on a lot of fronts. So right now, I don't trust my on-tap magic. So within this shelter I've created, I'm going to start basically on my hands and knees, crawl around, and I'm going to start scribing runes into in and around it, in a large circle around us. My intention is to try and basically set up something that'll give me competency dice to generate a portal for us to go that 50 miles that I sensed where the life was. Because at this point, I no longer think we can wait it out till night. We don't have that luxury, because if Set takes charge, Scarab Queen's likely dead, and apparently Osiris and Isis and all whatever drama is going on here between the family, this whole family feud is going to have a winner, and it's not going to be the good guys.
Well, okay, Alice, just so you know, and she has not been out here one day. Like I said, she is like a walking sand cloud.
Right.
She's Pigpen from Charlie Brown.
I'm also thinking, based on the information I've been given, that waiting for night might be a long time. Because based on the information I've been given, I feel that this is likely the world, the world of the gods, and day and night does not pass in the same fashion as it would on Earth. So don't know how many hours we would have to wait out, how much food and water we need to try and scavenge. I also don't believe that waiting till night is good, because that means that we're going to be waiting till the ritual comes upon us. So at this point, I am basically slowly creating a ritual to try and create a teleport for us to teleport the 50 miles. And I'm going to just take my time. I'm going to make sure, like, everything that Scarab Queen taught me, I remember, and I'm very careful with marking out each rune and marking out each quadrant and just pulling in that energy so that I can create something later. And that's what everyone sees, is me on my hands and knees crawling around writing stuff like a mad woman.
Okay. So are you going to cast it? I'm confused because you stopped.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So that I am going to do as I'm looking to use that for competency dice for my other one. So I'm combining two powers in the long run. So the first one I'm going to do is use.
I don't think you can aid yourself.
I can't, because I thought I could create basically an environment or other things and create competency dice for the group, which I can assign myself, which is what I'm attempting to do.
Mr. Co-author of the revised edition.
I think that's kind of your call to make as GM. Like, if it could be the equivalent of, like, casting something ritualistically rather than on the spot. If you want to, I could see an argument for it. We don't explicitly say in the rules one way or another whether you can aid yourself in that way, but I could see the argument for it if you're inclined. I'd say that's a judge call, right? So if it feels right
by all
to
means, supers did not have forks in it.
I'm sorry, yeah. Well, because what I'm doing is basically tapping into my elemental control magic and just inlaying my control over poison into each of the runes that I'm creating, and I'm just going to harness that magic and pull the land of the dead, because you're saying that I'm feeling death here, and it's going to pull that into that poison and draw it as energy, and therefore connecting my portal with the land itself, because poison brings death, and there's the connection, and so it's connecting me to the land itself. And then I'm going to tap into that ritual circle where the poison is, where I'm generating the poison into the inlay, and I'm going to use my real magic.
So one reason that you're at those negative dice on your powers is because you are transported from the fecundity of the jungle to this environment, and so
I'm aware. So that's why I'm trying to do it this way. If I can't do any sort of ritualistic setup, that's fine.
I would say you try this, and it's not that you can't necessarily, but I'm going to say at this point, I love your description. I'm going to give you a competency die for your thoughts here, but that cannot be used on this. Let me just make that one clear.
I figured that part, but thank you.
And but you try, and things are far too foreign to you in this environment.
Okay.
As you are working here, though, you've now been to two other realities. Let's say you've been to where Ghostlight came from, the Twilight Realm, and then you were in this weird chaos. Both of those, to your arcane senses, had certain feels to them. This place does not have any, and they were different from each other. This place does not have any different feel. It does feel like Earth.
At that point, then, Isis, Lady Isis, can you help me with my magic? I wish.
Only if you use your accent.
Sorry, yeah, thanks. I'm trying to play sick and accented at the same time. It's kind of hard, okay? Just give me a break here. Anyways, yeah. So, see, if you're saying using this accent, then you kind of got to be energetic about it. Doing it like a weakling is, yeah. It's kind of a hard hybrid, isn't it? So, Isis.
Talk the god.
Oh my god. Isis, this... Can you help me? I want to traverse the 50 miles to get us to where your husband is, or maybe he is. I think I know where to take us, but I need a guide, and I think that your mind can act as one.
So, you are well aware of this, of the myth from your academics and your knowledge, your time with Scarab Queen.
And my research for the character.
Her husband, in the myth at least, was cut up into many pieces and then distributed across Egypt. She searched for those pieces. So you saying that you're going to take to where the husband is, I don't know if that's what you actually want to
No, that's not
say.
not how I'm. Yeah, that's true. And I'm mixing information a little bit. Okay, so where the master is, I think that if you help me as a guide, I can use the two of us. We can make a road to take us to where the master is and stop him. But I need your eyes, your mind.